William Clair, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy Reserve. It was the biggest thing I'd ever seen in my life, and I was sort of surprised at the number of people involved in the organization and how basically how it functioned. Looking back, some of the crazy things that we did. I mean, I remember watching air operations without anything protecting my ears, which is why I can't hear right now. And but it was a fighting machine of the first order, and I was totally impressed, and always will be with that might. Yeah, good. It was an education. It had its highs and it has its lows. I mean, when it was lows, we're doing nothing. We're just sitting around doing nothing, either because of weather or because we were in a particular point. But where you really did your work was, in those days, they were just exercises, major exercises, and my job as an air intelligence officer then was to brief the pilots as to what their target was, and then to send them off and then debrief them when they came back, and also to collect various pieces of information and data and a lot of other bureaucratic kinds of things, right? So because they were the only propeller-driven, this sounds like like the gay 90s, but because they were the only propeller-driven aircraft, and because they had such an extended range, they were usually the first to be launched. So they would launch at dawn or 6 a.m. or something like that, and then fly a simulated route to their target, which would be someplace in the Soviet Union. And so we would brief them and listen to their stories and put them in the aircraft, and they'd be launched. And then some 8 or 10 hours later, when they came back, we would go through a debriefing process of how they did, what they saw, what problems they ran into, right? So it was an interesting situation because you worked like crazy very early and then all very late and had a big dull in between. At the conclusion of that cruise, we went back to shore and were preparing for another 6 months and go back to the Mediterranean, which I was really looking forward to. About 2 months after that, I was sitting there one day and the skipper came in and said, "Look, we've got orders for you to go to Norfolk, Virginia." And I thought, my God, that's the worst place in the whole world. Norfolk, Virginia, of all the awful places in the world, I end up in Norfolk, Virginia. But obviously there wasn't much I could do. I packed my bags and I went to join the Air Navigation Office in Norfolk, Virginia, which is the unit that supplies the maps and charts for the fleet, more specifically for the second and sixth fleet. And it was a standalone organization, had a big warehouse full of maps and charts, and we had another mission which is sort of irrelevant to the story, but that's where I stayed for the last year and a half of my commissioned service.